momentarily, and then we capture those records. We capture the chat and the transcript and the video, and we post those later. So
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Well, let's start here. We'll go through the beginning of the agenda, even though we're like almost a half hour late into this, but welcome. I am the acting PAC chair, and we're going to go around the room, introduce ourselves, and also kind of, if you don't mind, to talk a little bit about your thoughts on pedestrian priorities. I'd like to capture those, and maybe we'll be talking a little bit about those more during the meeting. But I want to get everybody's feelings as we go around. So I guess I'll start. I think, to me, a new priority is with this new stop for pedestrians, that the signs that have gone up and have been changed. I hope that we'll be seeing enforcement. So that's a priority for me for safety, is that when pedestrians go up to an intersection that says stop for pedestrians, that people do stop, and if they don't, that the police start enforcing that. So that's my hope. So with that, I will pick the next person. And Andrea, you are the next person on my list.
Okay, Andrea Walker, despite, my misspelling of my own name, and that I'm in Arlington Ridge neighborhood. And I have to really congratulate, the county as far as the portable speed bumps they're putting in. I just love them. People absolutely have to stop. They put in speed bumps over at Dunstan along Lang Street. And there seems to be a concerted effort on the county's part to get traffic to slow down.
Thank you, Andrea. Next will be Colin Nangle.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Colin Nangle. This is my first time coming to a meeting. I'm an engineer. I currently work at Leidos as a contractor to FHWA. Very interested in sort of active transportation. I cycle a lot to get around Arlington and DC. I went to transportation camp.
Tom Corns made it.
But
all right.
I went to a transportation camp this weekend, and someone who is an active transportation planner said that this is a good thing to get involved in. So decided I'd come to the meeting.
Okay, there we go.
Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah. And what is your priority, if you don't mind sharing? What priorities?
Yeah. I guess safer I don't have a good one for that right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Welcome, and please come back.
Welcome. Yes.
Yeah.
We hope you'll
we are looking
become
for members.
A regular member.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be inspired by everybody else's priorities and have something later on, but thank you.
Thank you. All right, David Patton.
I'm David Patton. I'm your Chief Technical Officer. That was a joke. This is a cluster. I don't know how to explain what happened. We've done this many, many times for the last 3 or 4 years, and something did not work tonight. So I will do some after action work to see what the heck happened. I'm a bicycle and pedestrian planner for the county. I've been with the county for about 15 years, and I am the liaison to this committee, and I enjoy it. I like these folks a lot, and we write good letters and get involved in all sorts of public engagement opportunities. So, thank you.
And do you have a priority that you want to share?
Priority.
With us? Yes, a pedestrian priority. Pedestrian related.
I would like to see the wider institution of lower speeds. I think high-speed traffic is the single worst thing for safety. So for everybody. and the pedestrians feel it the most. I don't know how many of you all saw the news about the man on the sidewalk who was badly injured in Pentagon City a while ago. Car left a driver, a person driving a car, left the roadway, heading south on Hayes Street, turning left on 12th Street across from the mall, drove 100 feet across a paved area, smashed a person and ran into a bank. He must have thought it was a drive-through window. Anyway, charges are pending. That's just inexcusable to me. That's someone who's out of, anyway.
Was there a medical emergency associated with it, or is unknown?
I do not know. I
Not that we've heard.
I read the RL Now treatment, and it said the man on the street was badly injured. I don't know the outcome when he received attention, but the person behind the wheel, that's just terrible. I don't know whether drunk, speeding, distracted, whatever, but that's terrible. 100 feet, that's 5 times the width of a normal little road. It's just terrible. So anyway, that's enough for me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next one on the list, Eric Malpelli.
Hey, Eric Malpelli, member from the Old Dominion Civic Association. I guess my priority would be I'm on Langston Boulevard, and we have our plan now for the corridor, and I would like to see the county funding pedestrian infrastructure improvements on its own and not just waiting for development and then community benefits to fund it.
Thanks. That's good. Next is John Armstrong.
You're muted, John.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. This is John Armstrong. I live in Lyon Village. Member of the committee. I think my priority these days is, we know that enforcement, there's really no enforcement. And so, I think we should really prioritize the built environment. So building, bump outs and different treatments that really prevent drivers from speeding where possible and from driving up onto sidewalks where possible. So I'm a big fan of some of the things I've seen the county doing with bumping out the intersections so you have short distance to cross, and kind of using concrete to separate bike lanes, things like that. I think that really work, and we shouldn't be relying on enforcement. I just came from the Yorktown swimming pool, and of course, every night, drivers drive the wrong way through this one-way area, and it's just sort of comical. But it's like I saw that coming back here. I'm like, they're not reading the signs, they're not obeying the signs. Like, how do you actually physically prevent that? Maybe more infrastructure that makes it really apparent that you're doing the wrong thing, or makes it hard to do the wrong thing. So happy to be here tonight. I'll pass it along. I don't know who's next.
Thank you. That would be Mary Delau.
So I'm Mary Delau, and I am with Bike and Walk Arlington, and I live in Bluemont. And so the 2 pedestrian issues I'm most interested in are accessibility for people with disabilities or different physical challenges, or, strollers or whatnot. Because I've seen a lot of places where if you don't cross the street quickly, and I know that some of this is like from the MUTCD, that you can't change it, like the amount of time you have to cross the street. But at some of these busy wide roads we have, it's not enough if you're not like speedy. So I know there are different things that have been done, like with pedestrian refuges and like bump outs to reduce the crossing distance, that helps. So I think we have to keep doing that. And I still think like Glebe and Wilson and that whole area and Fairfax Drive, I still think that's really rough. Even with all that has been done, it's still hard to cross there. And then the other thing I think we need, there's still too many places in Arlington that don't have sidewalks. And some of them are also near where I live, and there are kids trying to walk to school at Ashlawn and they don't have anywhere to walk. Or like if I take my dog a little off the beaten path, I don't have anywhere to walk him on many streets near me. We're just walking on the road. So they would be two things that I think are important.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is Pam Van Hine.
Hi, I apologize. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
And I apologize for not having my video on. For some reason, my camera does not seem to be working with this wonderful new Microsoft. I don't know why. So you don't get to see my my face right now. Um, I appreciate David's comments about what happened in Pentagon City, and was actually by the Pentagon City Metro stop. It is a huge plaza. The Metro elevator or escalator going down is right there. There are all kinds of poles and stuff. The driver did manage to knock over a bike support, and literally the car went through the window of the bank, did a huge amount of damage. The bank is still boarded up today. And as he said, and the pedestrian was on the plaza. This is a big pedestrian plaza. This is obscene. But given all that, my number one issue remains, and it's a fantasy probably, keeping Route 1 grade separated 18th Street, because that is absolutely essential for bike ped safety and driving safety for anybody and the emergency vehicles that want to go across it. And I'm hoping that we can do something, especially now with the monumental project. They're talking about reconsidering some of the Route 1s and talking about actually making it an entire corridor that works. So maybe we could do something. I think, oh, and I'm the recording secretary for the PAC.
All right, thank you, Pam. Patrick Kenny.
Good evening, Patrick Kenny. I am a member of the PAC and I live in Ballston. My number one priority would be pedestrian safety, particularly along Bluemont. There seems to be, while there are signs, there are often issues with conflicts between driving and pedestrian crosswalks, and whether drivers are adhering to those signs. And so more enforcement of safety, particularly along the Bluemont area.
All right, thank you. And last, Tom Corns.
Yeah, hi, David. Thank you. I finally got on board. Often depend on my wife to get me there, and she's more responsible than I am for this. But quickly, I have two things that I've been focused on. One is tree canopy. There's nothing. A good environment is a good, pleasant environment works for motorists as well as pedestrians and so forth. And to me, that's what I witnessed. That is a good for everybody. Is a green tree environment from front of building on one side to front of building on the other, with a median in between and just a total canopy. I've witnessed this in many places, but I've been taking traffic, signal time and so forth in New York most often, and I'm really impressed how well regularity works. I understand that New York is going to start varying signal times depending on traffic. I don't know any more of that than that. I mean, like they're watching the traffic and they're making adjustments, as they go along. But what the regularity, what I've witnessed is the absolute regularity of signal time on major traffic streets, almost like freeways, where they allow 20 minutes of, or 20 years, sorry,
Seconds.
2 minutes of automobile stop and 30 to 35 seconds of pedestrian crossing. And under that regular system, I've noted that there are very few pedestrian conflicts. No one jumps, the regularity of it, and there's lots of both pedestrians and vehicles. It doesn't pay to speed. They control it so that you get about 5 lights, and then you have to stop. It doesn't. There's no advantage in speeding it. That you can't beat the system, and that's the same with the pedestrians too. They know that the clock is counting on. They know it's about 2 minutes, and that's better than dying. Right, and what's it's particularly good in where there's high traffic and so I don't know how well it will work on a place like Langston Boulevard, but where there's this combination of green canopy and regularity and traffic control by light adjustment and pedestrian crossing with a kind of assured regularity that makes it no advantage to either speed or run a light or for pedestrian to move otherwise. So those work.
Thank you, Tom. All right, we made it through that. Does anybody have any public comment before we move on to the next item here? Okay, since none is heard, I'll move on. We were hoping to have someone to talk about winter operations and snow clearing, knowing that next week we may have our first significant snow event potentially. So, and we've seen in past winters that when snow does come, it often ends up in our crosswalks, in the curb cuts and other things like that, and it forms into ice, and it often takes a long time for it to be cleared. So the hope was to have somebody at least talk about those priorities. So what I'd like to do instead is take just about 5 minutes. If people can bring up some questions, thoughts that we can convey to David now, and that he can, I guess, take to his folks in the county that do snow clearing work. So I'm going to open the floor up, and hopefully I'll get a few comments that David can take here. So
Eric, I'm going to pipe up and support this. I didn't have a lot of time to try to get a county staff colleague person. What Eric said is absolutely true. These have been sort of perpetual issues, and so folks are aware. The response to snow is kind of it's a multi-party response. VDOT is involved on the major arterials that they still control. Our water, sewer, streets crews are involved. Parks people are involved. And I think TE&O engineering and support staff are out there on the streets sometimes too. So what I can do is develop an idea of what's supposed to happen, and then combine that with what you folks are about to say, what in your experience does not work very well, and see if we can't move the ball down the field.
All right, David, if you can take some notes on what comes up here. I'm going to start with John because he has had his hand up first.
Okay.
So, go ahead, John.
No, thanks for bringing up this topic before it snows. This is a perpetual issue. I guess, David Patton, I'd be curious, like, what is supposed to happen? You know, we've got trucks come in, presumably a lot from outside the area. They're focused on clearing the streets, the travel lanes. Are they instructed to not block sidewalks and curb ramps? Because inevitably snow gets pushed into pedestrian areas and pedestrian crossings. But then what you mentioned a bunch of different other parts of the county, like, do we have sort of people going, 6 hours after, 12 hours after the plows? Do we have people with shovels, like inventorying intersections? Like, is it the response? Like, are there any eyes on this to, once the heavy machinery has done its work, to have crews go around with shovels, fine tuning, so to speak, and making sure that crosswalks are clear and curb ramps are clear, because it is a big problem. And you'll see it at big intersections where there are vulnerable users who cannot help themselves, and they're blocked, and it's very dangerous. So is there an actual plan? Is this part of the plan to actually remediate like these when things get blocked? And who is supposed to do that? I'd be curious. And how do we help get it done and remind them?
Great question. You hit it on the nail. I don't hit the nail on the head. I don't know the answer to all those questions. I know that much of the work is done by county staff, not by outside contractors. There may be some outside contractors that are occasionally brought in, but I think most of the work on Arlington streets is done by county workers who should know this place, who should know to be careful, who should be able to follow instructions, etc. It breaks down a bit on the sidewalks. The sidewalks in the public realm are supposed to be cleared by the building owners. The building owners, who is Mr. JBG Smith? I mean, JBG Smith has a crew of people who do their part, around their buildings. But what about all the secondary buildings and the, little pizza shops and stuff? I don't know. I don't think it works very well. There's an ordinance. There's supposed to be some penalties. It's supposed to be some enforcement. As far as crews of workers following the big plows to fine tune intersections, I don't think that happens much. It has happened sometimes. I've seen it in action. I've seen my colleagues in the building where I work who are engineers. They work down the hall. They put on the yellow jacket and get a big snow shovel and go out and clear intersections. But there are hundreds and hundreds of intersections across the county. So I don't think that happens in a comprehensive way. But these are great questions. I think we should.
Well, let's thank you, David.
Yeah,
I think we got that one down. Let's Pam is up next, and then I think Eric Malpelli. Let's see if we can get a few questions that we can get those answers to from your colleagues. So I'm gonna I'm gonna open it to Pam now.
Thank you. I have several issues with it, and after the meeting, I will send out a link to our letter from several years ago when we had snow mountains everywhere that were there for a month. It was just awful. My first problem is that there is a little reporter problem form that is live after there's X amount of snow, and then it disappears at a certain point. I don't know why it's up there for such a short amount of time, and it's fairly hard to use, and I'm not sure how effective it is. So that's one thing I'd like to look into. In my area, one of the worst offenders for not cleaning up the sidewalks is the Park Service. We have Virginia Highlands Park close by. It is a major passageway getting from our neighborhood to the Pentagon City Metro. They are terrible at cleaning up those sidewalks. So that is a specific complaint. In general, some businesses are better than others, and we certainly would like to know more about enforcement and the rules and how all that is done. And be real clear that the sidewalks have to be part of it and everything has to be accessible. I had another point, but I forget what it was, so I'll stop here.
Pam, let me clarify. When you say Park Service, you mean the county's park?
The county's Park Service, yes.
Okay.
Yes, specific Virginia
Not the
Highlands
federal.
Park sidewalks. And the parking lot there is often used by the county for, they have these big machines that melt snow.
Yeah.
So they have all these machines in there, and there's constant dump trucks coming in and dumping snow into these things, but we can't get by on the sidewalk or the bike lanes.
You got that one down,
I
David?
got it.
Great,
I
great. All right.
wrote, we need a snow czar.
Okay, well, good. Well, hopefully we'll get some good answers. All right, I think Eric Malpelli is up next.
Hi, Patrick's comment about following up on the sidewalks is exactly what I was going to say. So I'll double down on that with a more pointed question and say, why doesn't the county prioritize equally clearing roads and sidewalks with equal amounts of effort, even if, of course, roads in reality will have to get done first, particularly in this sort of like 10-year storms where the mountains of snow last forever? That gives plenty of time for follow-up action on the sidewalks. And I'm sure in all sorts of Arlington County planning documents, there's nice language about the importance of sidewalks and pedestrians, and that could be cited in saying why isn't it equal, and have that be our ask or question, just a starting point.
Oops. Oops.
Sorry, I had to step away. Sometimes my job extends late in the day. All right, anybody else for snow clearing before we move on to the next topic? Okay, David, you got some marching orders there.
I have a page of notes here, and we'll capture the rest of them that I might have missed.
Okay, thank you. And thanks everyone for adding some items for David here. All right, so we're going to go on to the PAC. Sometimes it's backpack, but we're going to call it the PAC Capital Improvement Plan recommendations. So I think, David, I don't know if you want to share that on your screen, if that would be easiest for you to do that, so we can see it, and then I can kind of walk through it. I'm not going to read it to everybody because I don't think you want to hear me do that, but I think we can at least sort of top level go through the
I
recommendations.
should be able to do that. So I think the most recent was an email from you. Is that right?
It was
I set it up.
From
Pam,
Pam.
actually,
Okay.
and it's a markup. It's still so let me, while you're doing that, let me give people some background on this. So I think it was sometime in the fall, Wei Wong, I guess
Yes.
who's our transportation secretary, or I should say the head of transportation, not the
Director.
secretary of transportation, but the head of transportation said that it would be a good time for us to list our priorities for the upcoming CIP, and the CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan, is actually, at least at this point in time, it's like a 10-year plan, but it's updated every 2 years. So the priorities for the next 10 years keep sort of leapfrogging every 2 years. So the last one that came out had some good pedestrian priorities in it and bicycle priorities in it. And so part of this is we're going to talk about some of the things that we think are new items and some that are currently in the CIP that we would that we're emphasizing that will be have more funding and more push. So how are we going on sharing?
Well, Pam sends about 20 emails a day, so I'm having a little trouble
Okay.
finding the right one.
Well, all right. Well, let me see. I guess I can try this. Let's see if I can share. I kind of lose my screen when I do that, but let me see if I can share this. I believe this is the one. Let's see here. Okay. And maybe let me know if I need to make it a little bit larger for people to see.
Larger would be good.
Larger
All
would be
right,
good.
so I'm gonna do like a half sheet size. So let's see if I can bring this up. Let's see here. Let's get those notes on the side here. All right. Does everybody see that okay?
Looks good here.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to kind of run down these things. So again, I'm not going to read it all, but this is going to go to the county manager. This is well, first let me say that to even give a little more background, that as of last week, we had we had a something which Cynthia Palmer, the head of the chair of the PAC, and I had sort of finalized, and we said that we were going to bring this to each of our members. So she brought the items to the PAC on Monday, and things have changed a little bit. I would say probably the biggest change from what was sent out earlier is more emphasis on the bicycle element of the master transportation plan, that there are some measurable goals in there, and they emphasize at least twice here to make certain that those measurable goals are taken care of and accelerate moving forward. So anyway, that's the background now, just to kind of go through this. So one of the things you can see that we've highlighted here is that the number one priority, and I think that at least in looking at things where, kind of dangerous situations, we feel is at Shirlington Road. This is near I guess it's the Jenny Dean Park, where there's just a lot happening right around that area at 4 Mile Run and Shirlington Road. In the crossing there's a rapid flash beacon, which is just really terrible. People seldom stop there, and so it's a very dangerous place, and we've now added more parks and other things to draw people there, draw families there, and we feel this is a dangerous area. The county has a plan to do a long-term sort of study and look at doing upgrades there. But the concerns I think we're raising is within the CIP, we would like to see shorter term efforts take place to make this safer, that we don't want to wait 10 years out. We'd like to see something within 2 years. So that's kind of the top recommendation here. Again, the other thing was talking about the bicycle pedestrian elements, making certain that we're following what is in the master transportation plan. And then some additional new recommendations, which are listed here, looking at, again, a thought, an aspirational thought is a redesign of the Lee and, or I should say, the Langston and Lynn crossing. Just my own personal thought about that. It used to be easier to cross there at one time. For some reason, they've shortened the timing. I don't know if it was for traffic signal reasons. They've shortened the timing of the no right turn signal. So you almost have to dash to be able to get across the street there. But and this is down where David has his bicycle counting, I guess, infrastructure that's there. But yeah, which has been sort of blocked up for quite a while. But anyway, that's another area that I think we're emphasizing here. Let's see, what else do we have here? Something that Cynthia feels strongly about, and we'd like to see this addressed, is to put underride guards on truck vehicles, so people and bicycles don't end up, if a truck is coming by it, you don't get caught underneath the wheels of the truck and under the truck. So that's something that she would really like to see happen on all county vehicles, and then also potentially for contractors that work with the county. So a few other bicycle related things, talking about having e-bikes and a county bike fleet and getting the county folks to use more bicycles. Another thing is for trail lighting is to install solar panels on existing sound walls that would help with trail lighting. A lot of places we have dark spaces on trails. So that's another thing. And then also to work on countywide pedestrian and bicycle wayfinding. There was an old wayfinding effort, and I think it needs to be updated. Everybody, I think, agrees it needs to be updated. And I think David may even talk about this is already something that they're starting to do a bit of. So those are the new things that aren't in the current CIP. And the other thing I want to mention here too is that from our last meeting till now, David was very helpful in separating things that are existing in the CIP and things that are new items in the CIP. So the second area here are existing. The top recommendation under existing is to increase funding for detection of pedestrians and bicyclists in intersections. As of right now, my understanding is that we do have some things that detect bicycles. We don't have very much technology that's very good at detecting pedestrians. But the hope is, again, aspirationally, that as that technology is available, that it gets implemented. And so that's what we're asking about there. And then also upgrading traffic signals to improve intersection safety near schools. That's another one of the top priority there. Increasing, I guess, funding to complete the Arlington Boulevard Trail across the county. I guess there has been a study, but their items haven't been built yet, so the focus is to build those. To create protected bike lanes and to actually go from plastic bollards to actually putting in concrete dividers, so people can't just drive through those plastic bollards or delineators. And then also to add LED lighting at intersections. Pam mentioned, and I think this got in here at Hayes and 18th and Fern, there are good examples of good lighting so pedestrians and bicyclists can be seen as they are in the intersection and enter the intersection. And so the goal would be to make those improvements. As well as I think we've talked about maintaining street and trail lighting, and then also to fix and I guess improve reflective painting in crosswalks. A lot of times the interval between paintings is usually longer than it should be, and a lot of them fade out. So the goal would be to do it more often. And then also recommended where we have fully fund the Arlington Memorial Trail, which is a bicycle, or it's in the bicycle element. Increase support for Vision Zero quick builds, to increase funding for maintenance of sidewalks and curb ramps. Definitely a very important one, and prioritize construction of missing links around schools. So these are items that are already in the CIP, but we would like to have more emphasis on those. And then also to provide funding for the low stress bicycle network. And let's see to support. The last thing is to support the Army Navy Country Club, really trail, but it's more like steps. Unfortunately, at this point, it seems more like steps. But at least to get something built, otherwise we'll lose, I guess, our right of way or our easement access in this area. So that is the goal as well. There was a little bit of, I guess, shuffling of the deck chairs. I'm happy with this. I think it emphasizes a lot of pedestrian items. It emphasizes a lot of bicycle items. It got cleaned up a little bit to actually have items that are really CIP items. It may not be a perfect document, but in my mind, I think it would be worth us signing on to. And what in addition, we'll have to clean it up a little bit into letter format. But this is pretty much what we're talking about here. So with that, I would like to bring this to a vote. But before I do that, I'd like to offer some discussion. And so it's about 8:07 here. I'm going to maybe budget about 10 minutes for discussion. Hopefully won't go too long, but I do want to have folks have the opportunity to weigh in on this, because I think it's a good timing for this document to get out there in front of the county manager before he puts his budget together. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment, and I'm going to open the floor up for other people to give me their thoughts before we go to a vote. So thanks. And I'm going to stop sharing for the moment. All right. I do see that Pam has a hand up here. So is that, no, maybe not.
No, I don't. No,
Okay, I did see a little hand. I'm not sure what that was. Okay, no, it's gone now. All right. So folks, just like to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Anybody have any discussion?
Eric, I'll indulge you and just underscore that I think you're right that this is a good letter and list to get out now. The county manager typically sends his CIP suggestions to the board in about February or so, and then the decisions are made and budgets are signed and finalized in about April, I believe. So you're catching the wave at the right time, I think.
All right. So any thoughts? Does anybody want to make a motion to take this to a vote?
I'll so move.
Okay.
second.
All right. All right. All right. With that, let's do a vote. And I think the way we'll do this, for everybody who's in favor, at this point, I'd like to see a yes. Now, I guess one of the things we have to be careful about is who is actually a member or not. Pam, I want if you could sort of keep track of that for
Yeah.
membership voting. I believe we have a quorum right now.
We have 7 people.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
and we have 1 non-member, and we have Mary, and we have David Patton. So
Okay.
everybody else is a member. So we should be
Okay,
good.
great.
How would
Well,
you like us to vote?
all those who identify themselves as members, if you could put in the chat if you want to vote yes, and then we'll do the no's afterwards.
Oh, we could also use the React.
I'm not sure how the React works, but can we just
There
do
it
it
goes.
with
There it
yes,
goes.
yeses? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not sure whose fingers just went up there, but
We'll put it in the chat.
okay. Okay.
Come on. Whoops. Come on, chat.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start. In fact, I don't have my chat up, so I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing the members. Okay. I'll start by the yes.
Yeah, I'm unable to. The chat function doesn't work for me. So this is
Right.
John.
Okay.
I don't know if there's another
Yeah.
way we can do this.
Well, we'll record you as yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a yes.
This.
Why
the
don't you just
meeting is
ask us
being
to say
recorded.
yes, and then if anybody objects, say no.
Okay.
Do 2 separate votes.
Okay. So we have at least 4 yeses. 4 yeses. Okay, and then we also have a yes from somebody from Jim Feaster
Yeah.
as well. So that's 5 yeses. Okay.
Yes.
And Andrea's yes too. Okay, so it's almost a unanimous. I think we may be, if not unanimous, we may be missing one. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think that's
You could also just ask anyone
Any no-
opposed.
Anybody opposed?
any opposed can vote no or say no. All right, boy, this is so much easier here. The bicycle
Yay.
committee, my
It's like-
gosh, they had like
it's like
20
night and
minutes of
day.
like tearing everything down. So
Motion carries.
You
The
didn't
motion
even give
carries,
10 minutes
yes.
for discussion.
Thank you all.
This is a
We
nice
are very
bunch.
happy that this was not similar to the discussion on Monday.
Well, we appreciate it. It allows us to move it forward, and that's
Yes.
the important
Yes.
thing. I mean, I don't see that this has to be a perfect document. It's something that we need to get in front of the manager and get, and I think the priorities are there, so that's good. All right, got that one over with. Okay, so let's take a few minutes for discussion here as well. I actually put down like 20 minutes here. I'm not sure that we want to go that long because the meeting is abbreviated. But we have here, I guess, PAC priorities for the coming year. So again, I'm in the acting role. Certainly hope to have somebody as a non-acting chair at some point, but still we're starting out a new year. So I think it's good to get everybody's feedback on some priorities to work on. I think we all talked a little bit about what our general priorities are, but now let's sort of steer that a little bit to like to get some suggestions of things to work on in the coming year with the county and focus. And some of these things could be, some of the things are things that may be ongoing. I mean, we have a few things that I think have not been resolved, like Route 1. I think that's still a priority for us, and I hope that we get updates on that. I guess the maintenance of transportation, or what we call the MOT, which has really been a big issue, and I'd like to kind of see that continue to, I guess, to be addressed and to be improved. And for if anybody doesn't know what MOT is, it is we're talking about during construction projects, ensuring that all forms of traffic or transportation, we'll say all forms of transportation, can move through the area where work is being done. So if a sidewalk is being closed, having a plan that tells people to move to the other side of the street well in advance of, say, like going down a blind alley and having to turn around and go back and trying to figure a way out. So really has to do with figuring out or putting together something that will inconvenience people somewhat, but a plan to get people and bicycles and cars and everything from one around the work area. And unfortunately, a lot of times these plans may look good when they're submitted, but they're not enforced. And in the end, it ends up creating just havoc for pedestrians and others to get through some of these areas. And I'd like to see us have more input into the process as well. And I think the bicycle committee has raised that as well. So that's a priority. I've thrown out a couple that we have had out there, but I'd like to hear from others. So I see Pam's hand is up, so we'll go to Pam next.
Hi, thank you for mentioning the two that you did, because those would be top of my list as well. I personally would like us to be able to update the pedestrian element. And I understand that we're going to stop having separate elements and it's all going to get merged into a more simplified master transportation plan. But I want to make sure that our content is there and is current. I mean, it hasn't been updated since 2011, and it comes up at SPRCs all the time for that. But you only need a 6-foot sidewalk. You only need this, you need that. And it's not sufficient for what we really need today. So I hope that we can work on that. And part of it is figuring out, okay, who is really updating the master transportation plan and how do we find out how to work with them? The
Well,
end.
that's a good priority. I'm looking for other suggestions here. Do others have thoughts? I can certainly go back to some of the things people said at the beginning of the meeting, but I would like to hear if folks have something they want to add as far as things that we can, I guess, spend our time on at our meetings, at our monthly meetings. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I have a thought, David. Am I on board here?
Yes, Tom, go ahead.
I've really appreciated the painted directions on pavement. I was I promoted it on several site plans long before it was accepted, like decades. But I appreciate the widespread use of it these days. And I mean, on the narrow street that I live on, just having I don't know, 10-foot long, a yellow line at an intersection that separates what side of the road should I be on instead of the middle, or not what side, just then when approaching the intersection to make it clear that that there are 2 lanes there rather than one, or not, rather than choose whatever you like. And there are many other things like that that are incredible niceties to have, and I think as many as there are out there, and as dramatic as the change has been over the last few years, I just want to say I applaud it. Like to see it continued. I know that there are erasure problems with it if a mistake is made, but I think that's great. It's helped tremendously in my making my way around the whole county.
Okay. So this is mainly, you're talking about street markings, not sidewalk markings, not
That's
using
correct.
wayfinding. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It might,
Okay.
it might. The interesting thing is paint as expensive as it is to take up is very cheap and quick to put down, and so it might be there might be many places where it could be utilized before the sidewalk goes in, and there are probably many places like that in the county. So yeah, that's another suggestion, another part of it. Let's take advantage of it as a good tool.
Okay. Any other thoughts out there? Anything like safety around schools or anything like that folks might have that they like to see this committee focus on?
Yeah, I had one other, and that's it was nice to see reading today that what there were about 2,000 bicycle devices were passed out by the on the bicycle day that they had not that long ago. And I guess that was in the notes from the backpack meeting. I frequently have not only seen but been the dark shape that I can see perfectly clearly how to cross the street, but the car that's coming down doesn't see me. And reflective gear is something that, besides just doing smart things by the pedestrian, reflective gear is something that should be applauded. It doesn't have to be a whole jacket. There are many ways of brightening up an outfit, stripe down an arm, whatever. But this is something that I think is another area that visibility of people on blackened streets is what I'm talking about.
Now that sounds like an area that might be worth going into. I don't know, David, if there's something from the county's perspective that could talk about that, or somebody that we could invite to maybe give us more focus on that. Certainly, I know there's a lot of controversy. Some people say, hey, look, the cars need to see us, and we need to make certain from an engineering standpoint that things are seen, and then others feel that we need to do our part to make ourselves visible. So I kind of personally feel we all got to do our part, but right. it might be good to see if somebody from the county might be able to give their perspectives on that.
It's a good question. I can ask around. We have a street light engineer. I don't know the fellow well. I don't know where he stands philosophically on that issue of all lights everywhere or ration them out and put some of the onus on users. I don't know, but I can ask.
It could potentially also be a good Vision Zero discussion, maybe to have Vision Zero folks come and talk with us. But I see that I do have a hand up here, so I'm gonna
John.
Let John speak here.
So a new topic. I think it was. I heard something earlier about sort of low cost interventions. I know in the past we've had like Christine from Vision Zero. We've had other folks show us what's in the toolkit to improve safety at a lower cost. I can't think of the term now, Pam. Maybe not.
Quick build.
Like, the quick builds. I'd be curious, like maybe as an activity for the committee might be to kind of review if that information, where quick builds are happening or where they're planned for, or how if they're currently in progress, to understand kind of where it's actually being done, and to review kind of the toolkit and the list of where it should be happening or is happening, and then how do we get on that list to recommend places for quick builds. I'd like to understand a little bit more about that, or at its current state at the county.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might be good to invite some of the Vision Zero, at least Christine, or if she's not available, someone from her group that might be able to address both of these issues. So I think that would be good to at least one of our meetings have a Vision Zero person come to speak with us and devote some time to that. So.
Okay.
And David, do you have, I mean, in looking at the coming year, do you see some things where any recommended visitors that could come to our committee that would be helpful, useful for the work that we're doing?
I do. And can I use this as a segue to the next item on the agenda?
Then if you're going to do that, I have one more thing to bring up here, okay. And that is as we think about the coming year, I know we've had a few meetings, joint meetings with the bicycle committee. But I guess, does anybody else feel that there are other groups that we may want to partner with for a meeting, such as disability, aging, others that that might be good to maybe have a joint meeting? Any thoughts on that? And I see Pam has her hand up.
Yeah, definitely DAC and aging and transit.
Okay.
I definitely, second, as far as on disability and aging.
Yeah, I would add that it'd be very interesting to hear from these other groups, their perspective
Mhm.
when they move around the county, so that we're hearing from them and as well on these pedestrian issues that they see.
All right. Sorry, I'm distracting myself because I'm writing these things down, even though I think Pam will also have the information in the minutes as well, but I think it's good that we capture everything here. So with that, David, I'm going to let you speak and maybe carry us into the next topics, which are going to be what's happening with county updates, and also Mary can give us an update on Walk Arlington.
Right. If I might add a friendly amendment to my own suggestion, what I want to talk about is the upcoming MTP update and process. And I think that addresses a lot of what was just brought up in your previous item. But that could take 15 minutes or so. So maybe we ask Mary for the Walk Bike Arlington update first, and then I can expound for a little bit.
Okay.
All right.
So mine is fairly brief. The main thing to report on is our trail cleanup that we're doing, a bike and walk cleanup on Martin Luther King Jr. Day as part of the Volunteer Arlington Day of Service. So that's on, next Monday, the 15th. So we'll be on the WNOD Trail at Columbia Pike and South 4 Mile Run Drive, which is where we were last year too, from 10 until 1, just picking up trash. And it was really successful last year, and we have a lot of signups already this year. So if anybody is interested, I can put a link in the chat. Oh, and I see Colin has something there in the chat that he wants to raise. But yeah, I'll just look up the link, and anybody wants to register or just show up, we'd love to have you. And that's pretty much everything on my end that would be pertinent tonight. We reprinted the walkabouts again because we ran out of them. So that was good. So now we have more of those again.
All right. Hopefully the weather will be good. It looks like it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be a little on the chilly side.
I
High
know.
about 40, 42, maybe 43. And actually, when we start out in the morning there, it's probably going to be closer to freezing. But
I know. We'll have to
We will
bring
be
our
working
hand
up a
warmers.
sweat.
Right, exactly.
But it was fun last year. It was really good last year. I enjoyed it.
It was. It's one of, I like that and the fair. They're like my favorites. So yes, please come see us and come pick up trash.
And I went by there this I guess about a week ago, telling one of my friends about it, and we were just looking. It is definitely ready to have people out there cleaning up. It is. I think we picked everything clean or pretty well last year, and it's all back.
And that's why we did it in the winter last year. It was an experiment, but it's because there's all this trash in the brush alongside the trail, and you can't see it in the summer because it has leaves on it. So now everything's bare, and people were just climbing in there, and they were finding like car parts and just the most bizarre giant things that people just threw in there. So yeah, I don't know. Right. I don't know what Nova Parks did with it all, because then they were in charge of disposing of it. And there was like some halogen this big light tube, and I brought it home with me. And I think it's still in my garage, to tell you the truth, because you have to dispose of it in a certain way. But yeah, there's lots of trash, definitely.
Thank you. All right, David, if you want to talk to us about the MTP update.
Sure. And feel free to tell me that this sounds like happy talk if it sounds like happy talk to you. But the county is in need of a comprehensive update to its master transportation plan. And as Pam said, the pedestrian element was last touched in 2011 or 12. The bike element, I think, was 2019. And Eric and I were both part of a small committee that worked on that. The major effort of the MTP is 15 years old, 2007, 2008. And what's going on now, because I work in the Transportation Planning Bureau, and this has been a sore point for my home team for quite a while. But the last couple of times that work's been done, it's been kind of like having a bake sale, it's been kind of in-house and sort of on the lowdown and da-da-da. This is going to be a full-fledged effort with an outside consultant brought in to do a wholesale revision, renewed master transportation plan. And I would suggest looking to other recent examples of big planning efforts that have been done well and came out well. And the most recent one that I'm familiar with is the Forestry and Natural Resources Plan. It was just adopted by the board in the last couple of weeks and has become a new element of the county's comprehensive plan. It sort of got boosted from a sub-plan up to one of the 10 or 12 main elements of the county's general plan. The one that's a few years old is the Public Spaces Master Plan. Also came out of the Parks Department. Done very, very well. A really good consultant team came in from the outside, and our staff just knocked themselves out doing a great job. So I would say look to those as examples of what's coming. And I asked my supervisor just yesterday, I said, Allison, what can I tell the pedestrian people, the pedestrian committee about the coming MTP? And she said, some things are under embargo because they're actually in negotiation to reach a contract with a selected firm to do this work. But the RFP, the request for proposals, is a public document and it's out there. And I haven't read the RFP. This is in the hands of other people, my close colleagues. It's not something that I am working on at this point.
Can you share that with us? I think it'd be good for us to see that.
I can find it and share it.
It's probably a public document.
It's probably on the county's Empire websites already. I can look for it and share that out. Yes, but
I think it would be good for us to.
After the meeting.
Afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, this meeting's already had some technical difficulty. But what I'd like to emphasize is two things. Top of mind for me. There will be robust public engagement about this. So there will be ample opportunities for the pedestrian committee, the bicycle committee, partisans of every stripe to lobby for their priorities. It's a big part of the budget to do this plan. There will be some boilerplate language, the county pledges to do this and the county aspires to do this, but the guts of the process of producing a new plan will be public engagement. It's the majority of the budget is dedicated to that. And as for the bicycle and pedestrian elements going away, yes, the architecture of the current master transportation plan is there are, I think, 8 or 9 elements. And back to what Eric Malpelli and John have said, they don't get treated equally. So you can imagine that, the bulk of funding in the county for transportation goes to roads and streets and motor vehicles. But the dedication to do things a new and different way can be rebalanced, let's say. So I expect to see the architecture of the coming MTP will be a unified document to embody how this county embraces the variety of ways of getting around in a holistic, equitable, remember that equity has come up too in a big way in the last few years. Holistic, equitable, multimodal, sustainable. This is me, trying to forecast some of the happy talk. And then separate chapters highlighting the special needs for transit, bicycles, pedestrians, disabled, etc. So a different structural picture, which I think is going to be much better for the interests of this group, the bicycle people, transit riders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Tom Korn's the green features be folded into looking for opportunities in the transportation infrastructure to enact some of the goals of the Forestry and Natural Resources Plan, which is built around green, sustainable, resilient, etc. So this is I'm excited, and I've been joking about happy talk, but we need this. We need the aspirational language to say that this is the county putting meat on the bones of what it wants to be. And what we're currently living with, and I don't want to offend any vegetarians at the meeting, but what we're currently living with is outdated. We need to bring this thing up to date. There's a lot of good thinking going on. My colleague Dan Neighbors right now is in the national meeting that's discussing how to update the quick builds, the pavement markings, all those sorts of things. So Arlington County is in the thick of the new ways of thinking about transportation. You all have a vital role to play in making sure that what gets adopted eventually in a couple of years. This will be a process that's going to kick off in a big way this year. It's funded. The procurement's out. The pencils are being sharpened right now, and get ready for digging into this thing. So that's what I wanted to say about the MTP.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
yes.
much.
I look forward to public engagement. With that, Pam has a hand up, so go ahead, Pam.
Yeah, my question that David started to answer is, when is this going to happen, and when do we start having involvement with it? So soon, maybe.
Soon-ish. I pressed Allison on this, and she said she can't tell me anymore because these are closed, secure negotiations going on right now. But my peer colleague is a woman named Kristen Calkins. Kristen's relatively new with the county. She's going to be the project manager of the new MTP. She's come to us from DC, where she was she was a transportation planner in the Office of Planning in the district. She took a pay cut to come to Arlington and has been given the responsibility of bringing this baby home. I've buttonholed Kristen on multiple occasions, saying, Kristen, the pedestrian committee really wants to know what's up with the new MTP. And she's been giving me the Heisman, not yet, not yet, not yet. Well, we're getting close to the point where she can come and talk to the pedestrian committee and the bike committee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yay.
Yeah, so we're close. I don't have a date certain, but we're getting there.
Well, send that statement of work or RFP. That would be good for at least to see.
Yes.
I don't know that we'll all delve into the details, but it will give us a sense of what the ground rules are.
I agree. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else before we move on to PAC-related business?
Oh, wayfinding. Just a word about wayfinding. So, because it's been mentioned several times, wayfinding is getting a new breath of air. It's being resuscitated, let's say. We have another new colleague, I think Brian Shelton. You all have met Brian. He's also in my small group in transportation planning. And Brian has dived into wayfinding in a way that nobody in my experience has before, focusing principally so far on Arlington Boulevard and Lynn Street through Roslyn. He's done tremendous work, and we're at the point of getting ready to order signs. So we can look forward to a whole bunch of new signs on both sides of Arlington Boulevard, the full length from Roslyn all the way out to the county line. It's a tremendous piece of work. He's really done a great job on that. We're using that to bootstrap proposals for wayfinding in other parts of the county. Lynn Street following immediately after that. And I'm working with a proposal for Nova Parks for the WNOD trail in Arlington. And it'll look different from what's there now. And it'll look different from what we would do on our own facilities on streets and trails, because it's not ours. And the WNOD, the Nova Parks people are a little reluctant to take on a bunch of new sign infrastructure because it comes with a maintenance burden. So we're saying, we'll give you the signs, we'll take care of them, we'll track them, we'll repair them when they're mowed down, but can we have permission to put them out there? So I'm in that negotiation right now with the Nova Parks people. So, and part of that is putting more emphasis on the whole wayfinding approach in the master transportation plan and in the coming CIP. We have language right now saying, oh, wayfinding is really important. We don't have any money. We have little bits of money. It should be a capital project. It should be a program. It should have staffing, da, 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 da. If we want to do this, it needs to be done seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Let's move on to PAC business. I'm going to mix this up just a little bit here. Let's see if we can get the minutes approved as quickly as possible, since we have 2 sets of minutes that we haven't been able to approve because of, I guess, because we haven't had a quorum. So with that, I don't know if we want to go one by one here. So I guess the first one would be the November minutes. I guess everybody who has been a member here and I guess was on the or I guess was sent this by Pam. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion for approval of the November 8th minutes?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, very good. All right. We'll just do this by voice vote. So all in favor of, first, I guess I didn't ask about, did anybody have any comments or concerns about the minutes from what you read? Any corrections? Okay, with no corrections on the November 8th one, and we have a motion, let's go to a vote. So we'll just do a voice vote here. So all in favor of the minutes, say yay. So
Yay.
go ahead.
Yay.
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 Okay. Any nays? Okay, this one passes. Okay, very good. So we have another set of minutes. They were from the joint meeting last month on December 13th. With the Bicycle Advisory Committee and the Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Before we ask for a motion, I guess I'll ask for any discussion. Anybody have any comments or questions about the minutes who've had a chance to read them? All right, with no comments, I will ask for a motion to approve them.
So move.
Andrew, okay. And second?
Second.
Okay, very good. All right, again, with a voice vote, all in favor say yay.
Yay!
All
Yay.
right. Anyone who is opposed? All right, so this unanimously gets approved. Okay, so we have two sets of official minutes that have been taken care of. Great, thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, Pam, for just all the amazing work that you do,
Yeah.
including
Yes.
keeping us straight with all these minutes. So thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, so we have a few other items here, and we have about 15 minutes left. So let's see what we can squeeze in between now and then. So I guess again, I would like to see if somebody had interest to step up as chair. I feel that I signed on as vice chair, and I am acting as chair now, but it would be nice to see somebody who has interest to step up. So please, if somebody would like to take on this role, please let me know. I think we also, in the process would like to see if we can recruit more people that might also want to take on this role as well. But just a quick mention of that, that we still have not gotten a permanent chair here.
And vice chair.
And well, I'm still
Oh,
considered
it's
the
right. You
vice
get to go
chair
back to be vice chair.
at this point, yes. So I would fall back into that position, I guess. Or I'm willing to fall back into that position. I'm willing to stay chair until we get a new chair, but I hope that will be soon. With that, I think the next thing I wanted to talk about was membership and communication. So I'm actually going to switch this around and first talk about communication before I talk about membership. I guess one of the things, David, we really need to do is the listserv. I just don't even know who's on the listserv. I think at some point we need to scrub the listserv, make certain that all current members are on the listserv, and anybody else who's recently expressed interest has been on. But I think there's probably some scrubbing that probably needs to go off as well.
So Eric, by listserv, you mean the Google group, right?
That is correct.
All right.
That is correct.
Here's 1 minute of my reflection on the Google group. I don't understand it. It's outside the envelope of the county system. I'm not an owner of it. Sometimes I'm able to post to it, sometimes I'm not. And who else receives the notes? I don't know who they are. I don't know who the owner is. I think it might be Pam, but it might not, might be someone else. It's kind of a specter out there with 40 or 50 names on it, and I don't know who they are.
Okay. Well, I think maybe Pam and I need to kind of try and see if we can get into it. And so, like, Mr. Nangle that just came today, want to make certain that he's that he gets information from us, so he knows when our next meetings are, and also gets all the great information that Pam sends us about different events and things that are happening all the time. So,
And Colin, if you can give us your email, perhaps put it in the chat or send us an email that we can make sure that you get the information that you want. We would love to have you stay involved.
No, yeah, I'll add my email in the chat for sure. I
Thank
was
you.
just about to ask about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
mhm.
I'm pretty sure that I'm an admin for the Google group. I'm hoping Eric is as well. That it is very. I think there's way over 50 people signed up. A lot of people on it are people who have been involved in the PAC in the past, or they're interested in pedestrian issues. I mean, there's a lot of like Chris Latt reads it regularly and comments on it regularly. If I make a mistake in something I post, he jumps on and says, "No, this is really this," which I appreciate.
Well, it may be a good idea to just send out a message to everybody on the group, just to indicate, are you still interested in receiving this? And we're trying to update our group and make certain it accurately reflects the folks that want to be on it, and we can check it that way. So.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. And I can also make sure that all of us who are technically current PAC members are on it. I think everybody is, but just in case. I can
Okay,
do that. I can do both of those.
very good. Very good. I think that be some good housekeeping on this.
Yeah.
I agree.
I do have one question for David, and if he doesn't know how to do this, I hope we can find somebody who can. On the PAC page, there used to be a link to the Google group. It is no longer there.
I know why that disappeared. Because it's outside the county security system.
Okay.
It was kind of an open invitation for hackers or something. So in speaking with my colleagues on the computer side of things, they said we should sever that.
Then I think,
It is on the back page. I mean, it's the back.
Well, that's because no one's brought anybody's attention to it. It
well,
shouldn't be.
if that doesn't reside there, then I may ask, if you have the responsibility for the county page for this group, then I think that you may want to put something, say, for inquiries and to be, to be
Yeah,
on the listserv
Yes.
for this group. Please send me an email here, and then you
I
can
think
add
that's
them to the
fair.
group.
I think we could do that. And
yeah, because I think we can add people.
yes,
I think that would be a good way, and then you don't have to worry about hacking,
Right.
hopefully.
Okay.
yeah, there was there's a great fellow who's in our communications side, and I went to him for a tutorial about the website, and he says, "What's this Google Group thing?" And I said,
Oh dear.
So it's your fault.
and it was a vulnerability to him. So but yes, we can add in
For inquiries.
yeah, my name's on the website too. So if anybody's interested, they could write to me, but I could make it explicit.
I mean, because there's no link there, nobody even knows that the PAC has a Google group, which is hard to say. So if we could just have some text there, say, yes, it exists, and if you want to sign up for it, send a message and we'll sign you up.
You all know that I have problems with technology sometimes, like this evening, and
So we all do.
the website has been a frustration to me, but I'm learning. I'm getting better at it. I'm not anywhere like a wizard at it, but I know how to do some of the basics. I should be able to do this.
All right, I'm going to move on to a few other things here. I want to talk briefly about membership. I guess one of the things we kind of went back and looked at how many meetings we've had this year where we've been under a quorum, and that was significant. Pam, I don't know if it was maybe about half the meetings this year.
4 of them, 4 out of 10, so 40%. We
okay.
did not have at least 6 members attend, and we had 2 meetings this fall where there are only 4 members, and 2 meetings in the spring when there are only 5, and that makes me very sad.
Right.
And there are a few members who have attended very few meetings in the past year. There's one member who's only attended 1, to my knowledge.
So I'd like to encourage folks to attend more meetings more consistently. We appreciate everybody's input, and one of the things I'll just say very quickly that Pam sort of brought up today is the question about, well, I guess was brought up by John and Pam. Do we at some point want to go to in-person meetings, or if possible, hybrid meetings, if that's even something that's possible? I know that like the SPRC meetings tend to be hybrid, and some of them are. I think the county now has the technology to do that. The question is, do we want to start going to that? Are there any restrictions at this point about holding in-person meetings in the county? Certainly some, I guess some commissions are required to have a certain amount of FaceTime or a real, in-person meetings. But I guess the question is, I think if we could go to a hybrid process, I think that would be good. I think that would allow a lot of flexibility, and folks that can attend could attend, and folks that can't can attend virtually. I don't know from a technical standpoint, and also from the county rules what that would be.
I will tell you what I know, and then I'll inquire. I don't think there's any restrictions, but there are responsibilities. So if the committee opts to do in-person meetings, I think it has to be done at a county facility.
Mhm.
Those facilities still come with sort of like occupancy limits, but we have rooms big enough. We have rooms big enough for a group of this size. And then in-person meetings have to have a hybrid component. So the person organizing the meeting, which would be me, has to also manage an online presence. There are people to whom that's not a problem, and I can learn to do that. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. And Pam's offered to bribe with cookies, which is helps. So there's not a barrier there. A little bit of advance notice, like if we wanted to do this in March, say, I could start gearing up to do that in March, find an appropriate room, learn how to use the facilities, the whatever, and publicize it appropriately and have a hybrid in-person and virtual presence. It shouldn't be that hard.
I think that sounds good. If you can inquire on that, and let's look at potentially doing that. Again, I think the flexibility, but then it also gives us some real face time that some of us have missed, and certainly
Yep.
some different opportunities. I've seen it done well again with the SPRC meetings. I like the idea of at least considering that and just kind of play it by ear, see how it goes.
But and here's a little funny, but I mean, March might be a good time to try it. It would be 3 years after we went dark, so why not?
Actually, is it 4 years, isn't it?
Oh God, you're right.
2020, wow.
You're right. 4 years. The length of an entire college career.
Wow, it is kind of crazy.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I think that may
and-
also might encourage membership as well to give.
You're right. And Colin wrote in the chat that hybrid would be preferable. I think hybrid is mandatory. We can't just have an in-person meeting. That violates meeting laws. So yeah, I will look into what it takes, and let's provisionally say we're going to go to that in March.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, real quickly here, because we're
I had a
down to
couple,
the last.
uh,
Go
Can I
ahead.
ask a couple things?
can.
I'm curious what the PAC members here think about this. Is this something that we are eager to do, or we want to stay virtual? And one of my concerns is we're such a small group that I really hope that if we go to in person, that most members can come in person. Occasionally you can't, but I don't know if you need rules, but if there's only 4 of us in the room, it's kind of weird. And it's still going to be recorded, right? I think it has to be
Yes.
recorded. Yeah.
I mean,
So
what I would suggest, let's just try it. There's nothing
yeah,
to
let's
lose
try
by
it.
trying
Right.
it.
Okay.
We've had virtual meetings that only had 4 people show up. So let's
Yeah, I
just try
know,
it.
and that's not good.
Let's just try it, and maybe it'll be fine. And 4 years.
I like the idea of doing it in March.
The
Thank
weather
you,
will be a
Eric
little bit
and David
easier.
and everybody else.
The weather hopefully will be a little bit easier for folks navigating there too.
Okay.
Right.
All right. We are really at the end of our time. I don't know if people want to hang out for just a moment or two more. I guess, let's see here. We were going to talk about liaisons. We do have a lot of, I guess, site plan review committee committee requirements that have been coming up recently. I think just in general, we'd like to share the wealth if other people would be interested in trying. I've started doing that a little bit, and I would I think I'll do it from time to time. But it would be good to get other people involved. And then just one other thing: the Neighborhood Complete Streets Commission really needs a representative. I was on that for a while. I think that some folks have said that the commission has suffered in some ways because it hasn't had the expertise both from the bicycle committee and the pedestrian committee, because a lot of these really need those folks to give their input. So if folks could think about that, I believe they don't meet as often as they used to. I think it's now every couple months instead
I
of
think that's true.
so it's like 6 times a year commitment, a couple hours for 6 times a year. So please let me know if anybody is interested in that. It's a good committee. I mean, basically when we talk about filling in gaps in sidewalks and other things like that, that's what this does. And one of the things that kind of makes it sort of interesting is that there was another the neighborhood conservation process where sidewalks were built and things were built. A lot of times for those, it was done based on sort of neighbors weighing in on that. And if you had a couple naysayers, sometimes projects would not move forward. With this, there is community engagement, but it isn't, if you have 1 or 2 folks that just don't want to do it because they just don't want to do it, that doesn't always derail this. So there is a possibility to get some of these sidewalks built in places and additional safety measures, other things like that in places where they're needed. So that's my encouragement to get somebody on that. With that, one more thing, Pam, if you want to take a minute to talk about any special highlights from transportation camp.
I'll just say one word, and then I also want to say a couple words about Route 1.
Okay.
Transportation camp is wonderful. Eric did it virtually this year. John and I were there in person. Highly recommend being there in person just for the interaction with other real people. It is such a wonderful bunch of people. They're all ages, other people who are just finishing their training, people who are retired, and everything in between. There's professionals, there's advocates, there's everybody, and everybody is so enthusiastic. It is an unconventional meeting. People propose programs, 1-hour sessions, and you put up your page and we vote on them, and then the group running the meeting puts it together as a schedule, and it's just really amazing stuff, and it's absolutely wonderful, and I highly recommend it. And it is always this time every year. Recently, it has been at George Mason in Arlington, which is real easy to get to on a Saturday. And they feed you breakfast, they feed you lunch. There's a reception afterwards. It's a great thing. It costs almost no money. It's $50. Come on. And it's a great way to spend the day and meet people. It meets this time of year because it's part of the TRB massive thousands of people meeting. That's part of the National Academies, and it's kind of like a pre-meeting to that. But that meeting's serious, and those are all professional transportation people. This is not, although there's some professional people there. So do it. Route
So
1.
what was a highlight for you? I certainly felt that both the keynote address and the plenary address were really, the speakers were very dynamic and really kept my attention. What were your thoughts?
I agree that they were both excellent, and those speakers usually are wonderful. And if you were there in person, you got a copy of Veronica Davis's book, Inclusive Transportation, a Manifesto for Repairing Divided Communities. I haven't read it yet. I'll be happy to share it when I'm done. But yeah, there's wonderful people doing amazing things, and that's true for the meeting in general. John, anything you wanted to add real fast?
No, I would agree that the 2 main speakers were great, and it just reminded me of something I wanted to bring up in the meeting about the mayor from Emeryville talked about combining budgets for street paving with other. I don't know if I can bring it up at the next meeting.
He said he had a small community, I guess, of 12,000 people, but he said it's a people-oriented community. And some of the things that he said were just amazing. They really did things, really are doing things to make it very, very livable there. So it was really, really great to hear him speak. So.
Agreed. One quick comment on Route 1. I think it will be time for VDOT to come back and talk to us. You are all aware of the monumental proposal in Potomac Yards, Alexandria. The Delray Civic Association had a public meeting on Monday night with Senator Eben and Delegate, a woman whose name I'm not familiar with because she's not does not represent Arlington. They had 1,000 people registered, which broke down the system. The main speaker was actually Ms. Landrum, who is head of the Alexandria Economic Development Group, and she had a wonderful slide. She does her job perfectly, as well she should. So a very strong proponent of everything that's going on, but very knowledgeable. And so the governor has promised that we are going to have a state-of-the-art transportation plan for Virginia, especially focusing on Northern Virginia. And Kimley Horn, our friends, are contracted to do it. They've been doing things for months, and they are issuing something hopefully this month, which we want to see. But part of what they're studying includes Route 1, certainly Route 1 in Alexandria, but they're talking about let's rethink all of Route 1 here. So maybe there is actually some hope that they will rethink some of what they're planning to do on our part of Route 1, because it really does not please our community. So that's what I want to say, and I'm hoping that we can discuss this further and get them back. That's it. Thank you. Great meeting.
All right, and the other items here that were at the end of the list here, if you look at the agenda, there are just other things we were thinking about through the year. So with that, I appreciate everybody's participation. We had a good meeting here. I appreciate your time. I know it started a little bit late. I appreciate everybody's patience in getting this all into place, and hope to see you next month. So.
And I'm excited about meeting in person in March. Good for you, David.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Oh, and yeah,
Bye.
is there anything in the chat that we need to capture? His email, did he put that?
Just a little bit. I'll get it. And
Yeah, we need his email.
yeah, I'll get it.
If he left it. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna quit the recording and
Okay.
see you all next month.
Thank
Okay,
you so
thank you
much.
so
Good night,
much,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Woof.